Hey, what's up, guys? Peter here once again. Today, I am going to clean the idle air control valve of this Honda Pilot. This is a 2004 Honda Pilot V6. Um, yeah, I've cleaned it through the throttle body before by spraying carburetor cleaner and all that, but I'm still getting this rough idle in the beginning when you start the car, and I haven't quite gotten the regular, when the engine is cold and you start the car and the RPM is like at 1500 until it warms up. I'm not getting that quite as much as I want to, and it's I'm usually getting around 1100 to 1000 RPMs, which is pretty poor. So I have ordered an aftermarket part, but I'm not gonna change it out because I want to attempt to clean it because I believe it's just kind of blocked off. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this apart, and I'm gonna show you guys how I do it, so that if you guys want to do the same thing, and so you can. Okay, so first and foremost, I am going to unbolt the battery. You always want to unbolt the battery, and then of course after you replace everything, you need to do a relearn process for the idle. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and unbolt this battery. I'm usually, they say to take off the negative, but I'm gonna take off both negative and positive in this case because the positive terminal is kind of loose as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. All right, guys, one thing here, if you notice right here, there's a lot of like what's that thing called, acid, some kind of things that'll create a barrier between the terminals and your connector. So you might want to clean that out with just an old toothbrush. Just brush it off. um, I believe that's acid, so I'm gonna just go ahead and brush it off and go from there. So you just want to brush it off, kind of like loosen up that. You don't want to breathe in this stuff either, and just kind of go ahead. You might want to use like a wire brush, but in this case it's not that hard, or it's not that stained in there, so I'm just using a regular toothbrush. This is just an extra thing that I'm just doing since I'm already here. Okay, all right, so that's good enough. Next step, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove the air box, and there's a Phillips screw over here. There's a one, two, three, four. So there's one, two, three, and four right here. I'm gonna loosen that up, and I'm gonna loosen these bolts. There's a one, two, three, four right here. Does 10 millimeter bolts to take that off, and then I'm gonna take off the air box as well. All right, guys, I forgot to mention. Okay, so I already took this off, and I just place it right there on the floor. Make sure you don't lose the bolts over there, so just leave it there. I already unscrewed these. These screws don't totally come off, so which is good. It locks it in place. You just want to unlatch this hook, so you could take off. You could unlatch all the attachments that are attached to the breather hose, the air filter hose. So you want to get this. There's a hose right here that connects here. You want to just unplug this as well, if you can. If not, you get it from right here in one of the, I don't know if you can see it right here. Just unplug it. There it is. I unplugged the hose. Okay. Be careful not to rip them, especially if your car is older and you want to get I believe that's a 10 also. Just unbolt this. Okay. Loosen that up. You want to pull this out. That's one of the ones that are attached here. So there, you unplug that, and there's one more back here. See this? You just loosen that up. There you go. So that's unplugged. These two hoses are now unplugged. Okay, and there shouldn't be anything else attached to there. So as soon as you loosen this up, this whole assembly should come out, and you'll be good to go. All right, I've already loosened it, so this thing should just come up and slide right out. There you go. So here's the air box. Put this down here. Okay, now this is the perfect time to check your air filter. If it's dirty, this is somewhat dirty, but the way to look at it is look at it against the sunlight. And if you could still see the sun through it, then it's still okay. And you could always try to vacuum it or blow it with some air or whatnot. Okay, let's check this out. Looks good here. All right, and then now what you want to do is unplug all the sensors that are plugged into the throttle body. Okay, so we're gonna have to unplug this, unplug that, unplug this. Okay, unplug this bottom one right here. This is the idle air control valve. Unplug that. So just be careful when you unplug it because you don't want to destroy the sensor connectors. There you go. So that's unplugged. Okay. Then you got to get a plier so you can unplug these hoses down here. And to undo the cables, okay, you simply turn. I don't know if I could see if I could get a camera. Oh, hold on a second here. Okay, I'm gonna start with the hoses here. We need to pull this on, so you just crimp it, pull it back. Okay, and I should be able to take this off. Be careful not to mess up the hose because you know sometimes it's older, but if you do break them, and at least you know it's available. Okay, and then there's one for the radiator. There's gonna be two small hoses here, one here and one down here. That has some radiator fluid on it, so be really careful. That's why you don't want to work on the engine when it's hot. Okay, so I just lowered it. I'm gonna pause it real quick so I can unplug it. Alright, I don't know if you guys could see it, but I have unplugged the hoses here. Remember, it has a little bit of radiator fluid, so just, you know, don't panic. And so this goes here and this one goes down there. That is your idle air control valve, and that's what I want to look at. And now you got to unlatch these cables. And able to do so, you need to reach over here, and when you turn these, you can actually unlatch the cable from the back. Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna unscrew these two screws so I can show you guys. Well, wait a second. I'm gonna have to unscrew this and that thing will unhook because I'm gonna be able to lift it this way, but you could also do it this way. But remember, do not touch these, okay? Because if you touch these, it will get loose, but then at the same time, you're gonna mess with your cable tension. You don't wanna do that. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just turn this way and I'm gonna unlatch it that way. Okay, scratch that. I'm gonna have to unbolt the throttle body. There's 4 bolts here that hold them in place. And when I pull it out, that's when I'll be able to show you guys how to take that cable off, because I might turn it the wrong way and I don't wanna do that. Okay, hold on a second. Alright guys, so the top 2 bolts is a nut, and the bottom 2 are 12mm bolts. And as soon as you unscrew them, the whole throttle body comes out. Here's the throttle body. It was in like that. Okay, and to remove this, I could actually just unscrew it. But I'm gonna see if I could unlatch it instead. Alright guys, so yeah, that's what I did. I unhooked it, but I did have to unscrew the cable that connects right here. So now I gotta, would be the idle air control valve. So I will need to remove this. And we were wondering if this has been replaced before, and it wasn't, because it's an original Denso part right there. So nope, it has not been replaced. And they stripped the bolt here. As you could tell, it has been removed, so that means someone had attempted to clean it. So I might have a problem getting this bolt out. Let's see. It's definitely gonna have a problem. Oh yeah. Okay. So in this case, you're gonna have to use a vice grip. Alright guys, so here's a little trick of the trade. This is how I do it, okay? This was supposed to have been replaced, but obviously it wasn't replaced. This is an original part, and I know they just cleaned it. I had to get a vice grip because I didn't want to strip the screw, and I just clamped it here, and I just simply twisted it this way to break the seal. I did it for both, so now I should be able to unscrew it with a screwdriver. regular Phillips. Now, if you guys don't have the part to replace it with, try not to strip the bolts or rip the gasket, because you are going to have to reuse it. But just looking at this, there's a lot of areas here that you could clean out, and your car will run so much better. But remember, do not start touching like these areas right here. Don't mess with any of those are all tensioned already to manufacturer specification. I'm gonna go ahead and clear all this out too. I'm gonna clean this out. So just see if I could show you guys how this looks on the inside. It's my first time looking at this as well. This was supposed to have been replaced, but it's totally obvious that it wasn't replaced. They just stripped the bolts on it basically and cleaned the inside out. Which these Hondas, you know, when they get dirty and full of carbon deposits, you know, you could just take it out and clean it and reinstall it. You should be fine. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'll show you guys how the inside looks, because I'm curious also. I have a feeling it's clogged up. That's why it has really poor idle when you first start the car. Okay, there it is. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna clean all these ports out, and I'm also going to, it's actually not that bad, but I'm also gonna remove the sensor here, and I'm gonna clean this out. And the gasket, I'm just gonna leave it there because I don't want to disturb it. All right, so yeah, the solenoid's right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and unscrew this, and I'm gonna check it out, and I'll show you guys in a bit. But for the most part, it looks pretty clean. Looks pretty clean, but I am gonna clean it out. All right guys, this is a continuation of the idle air control valve. Now I went ahead and got the part, and I'm just gonna put a brand new one in there. Let me show you guys the other one. So I cleaned the old one out, but then I decided I'm just gonna put a brand new one in there. This is an aftermarket, it's not original. And so since the OEM one is clean, I'm gonna go ahead and hold on to it as a spare, but I'm gonna go ahead and install the aftermarket one, just so that we have a brand new one, because right here it's burned and I don't want to risk it. It might not work, so stay tuned. All right, so it comes with a gasket, so you want to put the gasket on there properly, and just make sure it doesn't rip, and then put the new one on there. Alright guys, I had to use the original gasket, because the new one that it came with, this is the new one that came with it, the new part, it doesn't fit right. So I'm going to use the old gasket, and I'm just going to hope that it creates a perfect seal. Okay, and then all you got to do is go in reverse installation, and it shouldn't be a problem. Alright, so let's put this back together. Alright guys, everything's put back together, and I just did the engine relearn process on it, and I'm gonna show you guys in a different video how to do that. It's pretty simple, anyone can do it as long as you can keep your foot steady. But one thing I noticed right off the bat is that the engine is not shaky, and at the same time the fumes, the smell of the fumes is gone. This was running pretty rich. And so now I'm just waiting for the fans to kick on, and the relearn is already done. Alright, so stay tuned for the video. I'm going to put a description in the videos of everything we did on this car down below. Just click like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Deuces.